In this video, I'm going to be addressing questions 6 through 8. You'll notice that on my paper I have a different formula written from the one that's on the test review. I didn't want to give away the answers and all the work. I wanted to give you a similar problem so that you can still try it on your own to prepare yourself for the test. So for these problems, remember anytime you see the function notation like this, the action that you're going to be performing is always the same. Even if this was a number, what you would do is replace x in the function with whatever number we have given you inside the function notation. So in all cases, whatever's inside those parentheses is the input into the function that you've been provided. That's always the same, no matter what. That's what that function notation is telling you to do. And the only difference between this problem and using a number is that you'll have a variable. So you'll have to simplify as much as possible, but there will still be variables left, and you will not be able to get a single value from that input. So let's go ahead and try this with this function. When we've got f of a, it's telling me to plug in a everywhere that I see an x in the original function. Let me scooch this over just a little bit. Okay, so when I plug in a, I'm going to get 6 times a squared minus 8a plus 1. Just plugging in a everywhere I see an x in the original equation. Now we would simplify if there is anything we can do, but because there are no like terms, that is as simple as that first part will get. And that should replicate the kind of answer you should get on number 6 through 8 for the actual review. Now the second question, number 7, is asking us to do the same thing, but this time we've got an input of a plus h. Same premise. You're replacing the x in the original function with everything in that input. So in this case, that's going to be all of a plus h. So now let me work a little bit lower because there's going to be a lot of writing involved in the initial input. So everywhere that I see an x, sorry about that, everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put in a plus h. And that's our initial input. Of course, I do want to simplify and clean that up if possible, especially once I get to number 8. I'll definitely want that to be as clean as possible before I plug it into number 8. So I need to remember order of operations from here. So I need to square this first, then I'll go through and do multiplication and then combining like terms. So now multiplication. And now finally combining like terms. And you'll notice that there's not really anything to combine at this moment, but I do want to put them in sort of a standard form just to make things easier once we do put it into number 8. So I'm going to put the higher powers forward, order them using alphabetical order from there. All right, and that is as good as it gets for number 7. Now finally, number 8, I need to use what I got from number 6 and 7 to plug them into the question for number 8. You'll notice that the first part is number 7, so there's no need to re-evaluate that one. You've already got it done for you. And the second part comes from number 6, and again, it's already done. There's no need to reevaluate. That's just extra work for yourself. So instead, I'm going to substitute all of this box in place of f of a plus h, and all of this box in place of f of a. And again, this is a lot of writing at first, but you'll see, thankfully, with this last problem, a lot of stuff will simplify and clean up really nicely. Now what's really important here, right, I'm just taking a pause. I've now written f of a plus h. Before I go to write f of a, notice that this is subtracting all of f of a. So I need to subtract all of this. So you either want to use parentheses after that subtraction to remind yourself to eventually distribute, or distribute that negative as you're writing f of a down. And that's what I'm going to do to save a little time. So all of those signs change because I've taken negative f of a. There we go. Okay, and then all of that is being divided by h. Now before I go through and divide by h, I want to try and eliminate all the variables or all the terms with the variable a only. I don't want any of those terms still here because they're going to make this division problem really messy. So if I go through and look at all the ones that have just a's, they should cancel out as long as those first two steps were done correctly. So that's a self-check way to look for it. 6a squared, negative 6a squared, 8a minus 8a, and negative 1 and positive 1. So now I'm left with only terms that have h in them. And now I can finally divide. Now this is very important. It actually applies to every algebraic problem we've done so far. If you have a denominator and you're trying to get rid of it, cancel it out, you need to divide every single term all the way across by that same number. So every term loses an h. And that's our final answer. So as usual, if you have any follow-up questions, you can leave a comment on the video, you can email me, and if you have any other videos that you would like to see worked out, please do contact me. I can make those as soon as you email me. Thank you.